Yes, we are.
We've been gone for just a few weeks.
It's been about a month.
Okay, so a little longer than a few
weeks.
weeks.
It's been about a month, yeah. Yep, it's been about a month. So, welcome to episode 1 of Twisted Theater.
Yes.
And if you don't know us already, I'm Zach.
And I'm Katie.
And we are a married couple who are obsessed with all things horror movies.
Horror, creepy, scary, just anything within that genre.
Like most people. So I guess real quick, we can address the elephant in the room for anyone returning to hear our voices every week.
Our lovely listeners who have been just waiting for us to come back.
So we started podcasting back in July of 2022, and we were actually called Into the Strange first.
Yes.
And then things got a little kooky there, and it kind of, we end up turning into like a full-on true crime podcast, and that was never the plan. We just kind of fell into that category, and we didn't like it, so we changed it to Don't Be a Jerk-o'-Lantern, and we had a lot of fun with that, and something happened in our family that was pretty traumatic, and it halted all things Don't Be a Jerk-o'-Lantern.
Yes.
So we took a little bit of time to ourselves. We're going to keep what happened to ourselves just for our own mental health. And we just completely rebranded. And now we are only going to be doing movie reviews. Maybe, some TV shows here and there, but Netflix stuff. But yeah, we are now Twisted Theater, but we're still Zach and Katie.
There's still going to be our kooky, jokey selves from Don't Be a Jerk-o'-Lantern. That's not going anywhere. Just wanted to do something a little different, and this is what we came up with.
Yes. Also, I guess one last thing before we kind of kick things off is we don't have any music yet.
We don't, and we do apologize.
So
we
this intro is a little...
should have looked into that beforehand.
Oh, I have been. I just haven't found anything. I haven't found anything.
We're just waiting for the right one to just come out and scream, yes, me, and then we'll do it.
The right fat beats.
On a side note, though,
what?
You did just mention there will be no more John Cena.
Anyone? Okay, yeah. Okay. Anyone who knew...
From the last 6 weeks of Don't Be a Jerk-o'-Lantern. It's crazy.
John Cena was very relevant to the podcast. Let's
unless there is a horror movie that
has John Cena.
Yes, that has John Cena in it, which I'm pretty sure there is none.
I don't think there is.
Will there be any in the future? I do not know, but unless he ever gets a role in a horror movie, his references will be no more.
Okay, so welcome to Twisted Theater. This is how we're going to do things each week. So we have decided that a lot of horror movies have multiple parts to them. It's not just one movie, especially the older ones.
Yes.
So how we're going... I can't talk. It's been a while. So how we are going to do things is we are going to divide things up by seasons. So when we get to Halloween, the Halloween film series, there are 13 films. That will be 13 weeks, and that whole season will be 13 episodes just specifically for Halloween. So if it could be season 5 will be Halloween. Season 4 could be Nightmare on Elm Street. You get the drift. That's how we are going to do things to separate things out.
It just makes it easier for when you do get on, if there's anything in specifics that you want to listen to, you don't have to scroll through an entire list of episodes to try to find what you're looking for. We're categorizing them to make them easier to find.
Yes. So, season 1 here. This is obviously where we're starting.
And this is my choice.
This is Katie's choice. Season 1 is Katie's choice. We are doing the Jeepers Creepers film series. There are 4 films.
He is scary looking.
We have seen the first 3. Part 4 came out. I guess not Part 4. The fourth film came out in 2022.
Which
and
I did not know
we
that
did
there
not
was a
know.
fourth film until we went to go and watch the first one. And then we're like, wait, there's 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
From what I've
it said
seen-
released in 2022. And so I know nothing about that film. I have not even seen a trailer. I know nothing. So that will be an interesting week for us because we will be watching that with absolutely nothing to know about.
Yes. The other thing before we get going on the first film here is we are not going to be explaining each movie scene by scene.
Oh, gosh, no.
I don't want to narrate the entire film.
I'm just going to tell you basically what happens.
The Cliff Notes.
And Zach wrote down some very intense notes. And they're kind of funny how you wrote them.
They're pretty interesting. I scribbled them in a dark room.
But you didn't write them normally. Like your note taking is very
I wrote them to where I could remember.
different.
Because we watched, this is Saturday recording this, January 7th.
And we watched the movie yesterday.
On Friday at like midnight.
Yes.
And I was very tired.
He was practically falling asleep.
Well, I've seen Jeepers Creepers 1,000,001 times, so
I mean, I have too, but it's been a long
I know
time.
we probably could have sat down and just started talking about it without watching it, but I wanted to watch it so we can actually have a little bit of structure here.
We needed a little bit of a refresher.
Yes.
Because it has been so long since we have seen these movies.
Yes. So you want to get started talking about this masterpiece of a film, I guess you could say, kind of, not really?
Sure.
So Jeepers Creepers, the first film, it was released on August 31st of 2001. It was directed. It's been a long time.
It has been.
Directed by Victor Salva. The budget was $10 million, and the box office made $59.4 million.
So they did, in fact, get their money out of this.
Yes. They made a decent profit.
But you got to think, this is also back in 2001.
Yeah.
So that could have been extremely good
Yeah, you're right.
back in 2001. You're talking 22 years ago now because we're in 2023.
Yeah. It has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which is above half. So it's like a C, low D maybe, D plus, if you want to grade it by school grades.
Well, if you want to compare that to movies now, it's like a low
I mean, yeah.
because now it's all crazy.
Yeah. Has a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's
and
not
a
good.
4.2 out of 5 on Vudu.
That's good.
So
That's
yeah,
good.
and that's where we watched it, was on Vudu.
Yeah. So, going into this movie here, we start on a grassy knoll.
We start on a grassy knoll. It's just fields upon fields upon fields.
You can definitely tell we're in a very country,
Country
back roads town.
out in the middle of buttfuck Egypt.
Nowhere where screams will not be heard.
Yeah, they are the two people we're getting ready to meet. They actually are driving. It's an old Chevy.
It's a blue car. I
Yeah.
do remember this.
It's an old
It is
Chevy.
an old blue car.
So before we get too far in, the three main characters in this film are Derry Jenner, Trish Jenner, and their brother and sister.
Yes.
Those are the two people we meet driving the car.
Yes.
So Derry is played by Justin Long, which everybody knows who Justin Long is.
If you don't, you definitely should.
He pretty much ruled the early 2000s in film.
Yes, he's in
And
everything.
Trish is played by Gina Phillips. And the other, I guess you could say, main character in that film is
Is it the older woman?
would be Giselle. We meet her at the very end.
She's the psychic.
She's the psychic, and she is played by Patricia Belcher. I don't know who she is either.
She plays the neighbor woman in Good Luck Charlie. on Disney Channel.
Yeah, and see, and I would not know that information. So
I'm sorry. I grew up a Disney child, so I know all things Disney. And
Yes.
she plays the mean old neighbor in Good Luck Charlie.
And the other character would obviously be the Creeper. That's what they call him. That's what he's casted as anyway. And he is played by Jonathan Breck. And I don't know who that is either.
I
So-
don't know who that is, but he does an amazing job because he is absolutely terrifying.
So yeah, we see their car driving.
and it's taking them a
It
long
takes them
time.
forever. That is one of the
It
biggest
shows
complaints.
this road, and they make it seem like it is so far
No,
away, but
what I'm
this
saying
road is so short.
No, exactly. But what I'm saying is how they filmed it. If you didn't know, like if you didn't, I guess you can't say you didn't know. If you didn't really pay attention, how they filmed it drives me absolutely insane because they take the first probably 3 minutes of this film showing these fields and then another like 3 minutes just showing the car driving up to the camera. We do not need to see this old beater stick shift like 60s Chevy like literally it's like just a random video, like a car video. Like they could have cut that in half, made it like a minute and a half.
Or just started the car closer to the camera.
I know. So yeah, they're taking a mighty long drive. So then they come up on, as they're driving, Justin Long, we're just going to call him Justin by actors' names. Justin Long is driving, and his sister, Gina Phillips, she is in the passenger seat, and they're doing the typical brother and sister thing.
I believe they're playing a game.
Yeah, they're playing some game with license plates or something like that.
Something about you have to figure out what the license plate says.
Yeah, and then they come up on this RV, and he decides to be, I'm a fucking asshole, and, like, try to be Brian from Fast and Furious, fucking Paul Walker, that shit.
He's an older guy, too. They show him when they
he-
drive
he-
past him.
He, like, flies past this RV, and it's so weird for a second, because they just kind of are at the same speed, and they're just, like, staring at each other, and it's the weirdest scene.
And then the RV just turns off in the distance.
Well, they pass it, yeah, and the RV turns off in the distance, and then all of a sudden, it gives me anxiety, really. The scene where the truck coming up behind him,
Yes, because
it comes up behind him so fast. Oh, it scares the shit out of me.
They start out, he is so far away. And then in a matter of seconds, he is like inches from the back
With
of
his
their car.
goddamn train horn.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
That's loud.
yeah.
If I was in that car and I heard that behind me, you best believe I don't even think I'd know what to do.
Well, yeah, and the sister is telling him, pull off the road, and he just doesn't. He just keeps swerving on the fucking road.
But see, the beat up truck is swerving too.
I know, but he
So
finally...
see, even though he's trying to let him pass him, the beat up truck is still
Right, yeah.
swerving too. So who's to say that if he really did pull off on the side of the road like his sister had told him to, that he wouldn't do it too?
Right. So he finally passes him, and
He's just zooming like
Yeah.
a jet, and he's
and
gone.
they see the license plate. Now, what does the license plate say?
beating you.
Yes, it could be beating you or be eating you. Because, the creeper, we find out he eats people. I think that's actually what it is be eating you.
You know what? That would actually make more sense because
Exactly, the psychic.
remember later in the movie, the psychic lady is telling him what the license plate said, and he said beating you, and she said you're not thinking it. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not
It's
thinking
be
it.
eating you.
Ooh, that's even scarier.
Yeah.
How did I not put that together?
Yeah, so they finally get away from this guy. They're driving down the everlasting road, the fucking yellow brick road of the Midwest or wherever they're at.
There's no signs on the side of the road. Nothing.
And then they start passing this old church. There's a tunnel there, and they see Mr. B Eating You's truck sitting there. And as they're passing by, they see Homie get out of the truck, open the back of it, and start dumping bodies wrapped in sheets down this tunnel. And this dude, he just stops, and he does the whole fuck you looking at stare down at them while they're
He's like staring at them with his arms
and
at his sides.
he hops in his truck and starts fucking with them again, chasing them around, doing his crazy train horn stuff again. And he's like fucking, like I wrote here, he's fucking Dominic Toretto. Hit the nos on that shit, because did you hear it when he's driving? They put like the turbo sounds.
I did.
Like
I
he
heard
hit
it.
the nos, and it's the most stupidest.
All you
thing.
heard is like shh.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's great.
Like, they do realize this is 2001, right?
Right. So he actually runs Justin and his sister off the road.
Yes, he hits them in the back of their truck.
Yeah, he rear ends them
many
many
times.
and they finally run off the road. He leaves them alone. He just keeps on trucking down the road with his Dodge Charger of a 1926 truck with a train horn attached to it. But then, for some reason, what I noticed is they just hang out in like the side of the road or off in the field where they pull off in. Like they just hang out there. It like for hours. They're just hanging out there because it shows them it's more light outside, and then when they finally start to leave, it's like evening. Like it's getting dark, sunset almost.
They go back to his house.
Not yet, though. That's when they do finally go back. But, like, they're there for, like, hours almost. So
Well, they were trying to fix the trunk.
yeah, by just tying it. But
Maybe it took them a long time to tie it.
they actually end up deciding to be heroes in the situation and go back to this tunnel because for some reason they know homie's not there. The creeper's not there.
They watched him drive away.
I know, but he could have circled around somehow or
I
something.
think you would hear that jet engine.
Yeah, that's true. That that Boeing 747 engine coming at him. But yeah, it's they go back because he says like he wants to take a look down that tunnel.
He says he just wants to check.
Yeah, so he ends up looking into the pipe. They give up because they don't hear nothing as he's screaming, hello, hello, hello down there. And all of a sudden he hears something.
Yes.
And he runs back and he ends up convincing his sister to hold his feet while he climbs into the tunnel to get like a better view with the flashlight and to hear a little bit better. And then all of a sudden rats pop up. He slides down the tunnel and then comes the stupidest falling scene I have ever seen in my entire life.
He's like, whoa.
He's like, whoa, but he's not, and he literally, like, it's way too long. Again, way too long of a scene. He's like floating in the air, and then all of a sudden, the last foot, he just like on the ground. But it's way too dragged out.
It's 2001, babe.
I know. Outside, though, if you remember, all the crows.
Yes. It's like they're speaking. Like, it's like they speak for the creeper.
Yeah, without, like, outside with the sister, she's just kind of hanging out, keeping an eye out because he fell down the tunnel, and she's looking out for the creeper's van truck, 747 jet engine powered diesel to come back, and all of these crows are just out of, like, they're all over the place.
They're like in the windows, on the roof.
They're in the windows. They're on the walls.
There's like a cross on the top of the old
I'm
building.
surprised you just missed my reference there.
Crow window.
To the window, to the wow.
Oh.
That's what I was doing there. I didn't want to say, like, I
didn't catch that.
I was going to say, like, the crows are in the windows, the crows are on the walls, crows are on the creeper's balls, but.
Ew. Don't do that.
I mean, he's naked in the last, like, half hour of the movie, so. Doesn't show anything, though, but, I mean, come on now.
He is naked, isn't he? Because
Yes,
he doesn't
he
have
is.
that little cloak jacket on.
I know, he doesn't have anything on.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, the crows are everywhere.
And they're like speaking, like I told you, it almost is like they speak for
remember,
the creeper. Or maybe when they crow like that, maybe they're like talking to him, like telling him to come back.
But I think it's a warning to the sister and the brother. 'Cause remember, crows and ravens are a sign of death.
Oh my God, so if I see crows, that means I'm going to die.
I mean, superstition. Crows are bad, but yeah. So, homie finally gets up off the ground from falling like 3 feet.
It takes him a hot minute to get up, too.
Yeah, he just
acts
kinda
like
chills.
he like broke like every bone in his body, and he just was not going to get up.
Right. So he hops up, covers a little cut on his hand, and he finds a flashlight he had. and he turns that thing on, and all of a sudden he starts to see bodies on the walls.
They're everywhere.
But what he doesn't realize is very quickly he looks up because something starts dripping on him, and he looks up, and literally the entire room he is in, it's a pretty large room. It's literally from the floor to ceiling bodies all over the place.
How does he describe it in the movie? It's like the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah,
That's what he
the
says.
Sistine Chapel, like literally like bodies.
But it's made out of bodies.
And I wrote the bodies, like Motley Crue, girls.
Yes.
That's what I wrote.
I asked you last night. I was like, why did you write it like
that? So it turns out they're next to this church, if you don't remember. And he finally finds his own way out because it ends up being the basement of the church.
I think he crawls up and gets out through the house.
Something like that. But he finally
gets out. Which wouldn't make any sense because if you look at the house when they first pull up, everything is boarded.
Right.
Like the windows are boarded, the doors are boarded. So like how exactly did he get out of the house?
Right. But he does get out. He doesn't show it. And he runs up to the car and he's, traumatized because he has seen, like he said, probably 500-600 bodies down there.
Yeah. And I do believe like the last thing that it shows is like he's like right up next to the wall, like against two bodies. And it's a male and a female, and they're holding hands, which insinuates that they were probably a couple because they do look relatively young. And it shows that the guy is wearing like a class ring from high school, but I can't remember what it said.
I don't remember.
But it was red. And they were like sewn like together. It shows that. And when he is talking to the officers and stuff, he's like telling them about it. And I think he does bring up the ring, and it's like a missing person from like 20 years ago. But they're like so pristine, like they don't even look old.
Right. But he gets back to the car. The sister's already chilling in it, kind of waiting. They start driving. He's obviously traumatized from what he's seen. Doesn't really want to talk about it. They end up getting to town. Finally, the road ends.
They go to a diner.
They go to this diner where they're all weird about them being there. They finally call the police and, shit like that. And all of a sudden, the phone starts ringing. And this is where we don't meet Giselle.
But we hear her voice.
We hear her, and she starts warning him of, like, this is what's going to happen. He like, literally describing him to a T, what he's wearing, everything to try to get to him, and he doesn't want nothing to do with it.
She even tells him that she knows what he just went through.
Yeah. Like,
with the bodies.
He just kind of tells her to fuck off and hangs up the phone.
Well, in his defense, though, he did ask her many, many times who it was.
Right.
And how she knew all that stuff, and she wouldn't answer him, so...
Right. So, as they're doing all that, though, all of a sudden, the people in the diner see what they say is a man dressed in a long coat and a hat looking through their car.
Yes.
That's all they see. They didn't see where he went, nothing.
They said he went that way,
yeah,
and they pointed.
A direction. But, they didn't see when he got there, nothing like that.
They didn't see what he looked like other than just what he was wearing.
But they said that he was smelling the clothes that were in the back of their car.
And it looked like he was enjoying it.
Yeah, because I wrote here that he be jeeping and he be creeping on that laundry.
Yes.
So, I mean...
And what we figure out is he's actually trying to get the scent.
Yeah, he's a smeller.
Man.
He's a smeller.
Well, it also says that he smells fear.
Yeah, and at that point...
Which apparently, when we're scared, we give off a scent.
Well, at that point, police are already there. They're not really taking it seriously until that point, because there's actually a handprint on the car door handle, if you remember correctly.
I do.
So then they're like, oh shit, take us to this church you were just talking about.
It's not a normal handprint, though.
No.
It's like dust.
And as they're driving, they let the brother and sister drive in front of them in their own car, and then the cops are following behind them, and they go hear over the radio that the church is on fire.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. They hear it's real quiet when they say it, but the church is on.
I was going to say, I know that they said something
to.
On the thing, but I didn't know that it said that the church was on fire.
Yeah, that the church was on fire, and the fire department isn't going to get there in time to be able to put it out. Like, it's going to burn to the ground. So
Dang.
the creeper lit the church on fire to get rid of everything.
That's not confirmed.
It's got to be. But as they're driving, homie decides to land on the cop's car as brother and sister are fighting over the radio.
So they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, they don't even know. He ends up killing both of the police officers. And do you want to explain what happens then?
Yeah. So after these cops are murdered, he ends up getting the cop car. Like, he swerves and the brother and sister start swerving, and eventually they get stopped in the middle of the road. And the brother and the sister gets out to go to the cop car to see if they are okay. And Justin Long stays in the car. He doesn't want his sister to go towards it. He's advising her that it's not like a good idea. And all you see when you look at the cop car is a hat with like long strangly hair, which obviously is not the cop. And you see the male officer's head on the ground in the middle of the road. So the creeper starts to get out of the car, and the sister just books it. She tries to get away. They end up playing a game of what Zach likes to call...
No, not yet. Not yet. Remember.
Oh, yeah. He does something very creepy with the head. He, like, smells it a whole bunch of times.
What you were getting ready to say is later on in the movie.
I think, does he lick it?
Yeah, he, like, licks the head a little bit, and then all of a sudden he starts, like, making out with it. And then he starts, like, eating its tongue, like, the head's tongue.
And then she books it.
Yeah, and then they decide to finally drive off.
But, I mean, that scene right there is just absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry. I think they could have completely just avoided putting that in the movie. I don't think I need to see a man making out with a severed head.
Okay, so next scene from that is they end up running into this house. Do you want to talk about that?
You didn't talk about the chicken.
That's after the grandma.
Oh, my bad. I'm thinking that this is all on the same road. So we run into this elderly woman who has a strange obsession with cats.
She's a cat lady.
This woman is the prime definition of cat lady.
She's a crazy cat lady.
She's got probably 50, 60 cats in her house.
She turns out to be a badass motherfucker grandma.
Yes. So she comes outside because she sees the creeper standing by her scarecrow. And
she's got the shoddy.
She tells him that he has 10 seconds to get off of her property, and she is not kidding. And he does not move.
No, he ends up actually hopping up and like going through her roof.
Yes. So she shoots him with her shotgun, and I don't know if she misses. I don't think she does, because when he flies away, you like hear a sound.
Yeah.
Like either she hit him or she like grazed him with a bullet or something. She did something to him, and he did not like it. And she runs inside her house, and you just hear like a whole bunch of ruckus. You hear 2 shots, and then you see him coming towards the front door with her.
As like almost like a puppet.
Yeah, he has like his hand like wrapped around her neck, and he's like holding her up because her feet are not touching the ground. It shows it. And then he just looks at the brother and sister and gives this like really creepy, gross smile, and then just throws the old lady like she's nothing. Like, he just does not care. He just throws her like she's just a piece of garbage, and then just goes after them. And
this is when we get into
where we get to the lovely game.
This is what I call the fuck around and find out game of chicken.
Yes.
Because the brother and sister end up...
And it's the sister driving.
Yeah, she's driving. And when I say fuck around and find out, I mean that as in the creeper is not the one that's fucking around and finding out. The brother and sister are fucking around and finding out, because they try to run him over on multiple occasions before they finally clip him and do it. he's like,
I think they try like 2 or 3 times.
and he just like jumps over the goddamn car.
He runs across the car. Like
he's like Blade in Blade 2.
They run at him going forward, and he like jumps up and like stands on like the hood of the car and like runs across to the back and jumps off.
It's like guys, you didn't need to film this 4 times. You
Yes.
could have done it. They went forward and then reverse and then forward and then reverse. They could have done it 1 time forward, 1 time reverse, and then hit him the next time.
But that is so not what happened.
Right, because
There's like 6 times here.
I know. They finally hit him though.
And
then,
she is not satisfied
No.
with that one hit. She has to go over like 2 or 3 more times. And then it shows him laying on the ground. His leg is like all smushed. His arm is
he's
smushed.
all sorts of fucked up.
He is not looking his very best right now. And then you just see like a wing pop up.
Like I literally wrote a literal Batman
Yes.
because it's like a bat wing.
Yes. And he is trying to fly away.
Right.
But
only
he is
one wing.
not. Yes. I think it's his left wing.
Yeah, only one wing comes up.
He is not going anywhere. He is not flying today.
So they drive away.
Yes.
They end up they finally get themselves to the police station. And this is where they meet Giselle. She shows up. The police obviously know who she is.
She's the town psychic.
Yeah, they all call her the town crazy. And obviously, the creeper isn't dead because that's not how things are going to end here.
That's not how any horror movie
Right.
ever is.
So he ends up showing up to the police station.
But he doesn't come in from the front. He
goes
comes
through
in
the back
from the
somehow.
basement.
Yeah, somehow where all the jail cells are at.
Yes.
And they hear all of it though, and all the police are like, "Oh shit, let's get it ready."
They hear it on the radio that something is going on downstairs in the jail cell. So all of the cops that are in the front, like in the office lounge area, they all go running to the basement where the jail cells are. And they go to look downstairs and they don't see anything.
Because remember, he cuts the power first. Of course, the horror movie trope.
Yes, he does cut the power first. There is an officer who is already down in the basement. I think he's waking up all the prisoners when the lights get cut off. He's waking everybody up. And he gets to one cell, and there's 2 prisoners that are sitting up against the wall, and they don't want to move and they don't want to talk. And then they shine the light over to the other side of the jail cell, and it's another prisoner and the creeper. And the creeper is just like making a meal
Yeah, he's eating him.
out of this guy. Which would explain why the prisoners are just like, I'm not going to
Yeah,
say anything.
yeah.
I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And that's what brings all the other officers downstairs. So they have an officer, he's standing at the top of the stairs, and they're trying to get him to go down, but he's not seeing anything. And then does something drop on him?
What do you mean?
When he's standing at the top of the stairs, does something like fall on him that makes him look up? Because the creeper is above him, remember? When he's standing at the top of the stairs, the creeper is above.
I actually don't
the creeper is
remember.
above him, and I can't remember if something fell on him or something like dripped on him.
It might have been. I think it was a drip.
And it made him look up, and then the creeper just like swung down real quick, grabbed him, and like went right back up.
No, because he gets his. Is that the heart thing?
It is the heart thing.
Yeah, it's the heart thing because he straight up Calimars his ass.
He like comes down like
He literally
and
just
then
pulls
goes
his heart
away.
out of his chest, and that's the camera angle you see is the cop's flashlights through the hole in his chest.
Yes,
I think something drips on him.
I don't know.
I don't actually. See. We just watched it, but I cannot for the life of me remember how.
I can't either, but something made him look up.
Yes. So that happens.
And then he like went to like the top of the building because there's like a set of stairs that go all the way up.
All the police officers head up there. And that happens to be where Giselle, Justin Long, and the sister, I don't even remember her name or the actor's name. So
Trish.
Yeah, so Trish that's where those 3 ended up being.
Giselle is trying to get them out
Yes.
of the police station.
They're talking, and then all of a sudden as they're talking, the creeper pops around the corner, which could probably be the creepiest part of the whole movie.
Yes, because he's like not even peeking around like the right way. He's like completely sideways.
Yeah, well, it's not even the crawling on the wall thing, because that's what he does. It's literally just the peeking around the corner. It's just creepy.
He just pops out like super quick. It's just like
he starts crawling down, literally on the wall, crawling towards them.
he's crawling towards Giselle because she sent the brother and sister to like run away.
Yes.
And he comes up to I can't even say her name. He comes up to Giselle and like starts smelling her because remember he smells fear, and there's something in the fear that like brings him to you, and if he likes the way it smells or whatever, then that's what makes him take you. And he smells her and doesn't want anything to do with her, so he just leaves her alone and goes after Justin and his sister.
Yeah, because we don't know exactly which one he's after yet.
No.
But we find out, like, right now.
Yes. So
The cops get to the top of the stairs, finally.
Justin and his sister are in one of those, like, interrogation rooms with, like, the glass that you can't see through.
Right, and the creeper's on the other side.
The creeper's on the other side. And he's like smelling them through the glass, and then he just jumps through and gets into the room, and he starts smelling Trish and then smelling Justin. And then he smells Trish again and then goes and smells Justin. And I believe at this point is when he grabs Justin and throws Trish to the other side of the room because he doesn't want anything to do with Trish.
And at that exact moment, the police come into the room, and it's like a standoff. And then you see the creeper do that weird thing with his head.
Yes, it's like these little
It,
like vein
up.
Things.
Yeah, it's like...
it opens up all the way around his head, and he makes like this really weird
it's like that
screaming
dinosaur
noise.
It's like that dinosaur from Jurassic Park, remember?
Yes.
The little dinosaurs that open the little thingy, the flaps on their heads?
Yes.
It's exactly like that. Just a little bit creepier.
It's also like the Blade characters.
With their mouths.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Kind of. Similarities.
But at this moment, it's a hostage situation.
Because he's got Justin wrapped around him. Like, he ain't going nowhere even if he tried.
And Trish tries to convince him, of course, to like, well, take me instead. Take me instead.
He's like, I'm stronger.
Yeah, and he just stares at her for a second, and you can see on his face, he's just like, shut the fuck up. And then all of a sudden, he just flies out the window with Justin.
But you know he's going to fly because he puts it,
yeah,
you see
that's
his
when
wings.
you finally see both
of his wings come up.
I forgot to
and
say
they
that.
don't immediately start flapping. They just come up.
Right.
So, like, you already know at that point he's going to fly.
Right.
And then in, like, a split second, he just takes off.
Right. And
the funny thing is with Trish, she's already downstairs.
When he flies?
Yeah, but think of how far up in the
you know what, that's
police
actually true.
station they are.
That's actually
How
true.
does she get down to the main level and outside so very quickly?
She might as well have jumped out the window, but she didn't. Like, she goes out the
She's
front
like
door.
a few stories up.
Yeah, and she goes out the front door, and she's like, by the time the dude's flying with Justin, he's like maybe not even 100 feet from the building yet.
She's already
outside in the road. Like, she is Usain Bolt of sisters. But she was
doing, extremely determined to save her brother.
And all she's doing is screaming his name, and she chases him for a while, and then all of a sudden he's just gone.
Yeah, because it shows like the clouds and the moon and everything, and like you see him flying, and then it's just completely gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
You see nothing.
Right, and then the final scenes of the movie, is it shows Giselle talking to Trish in the morning. It's finally daylight out, and then they're just having the typical end of movie conversation, and then all of a sudden it shows this beat up old factory, and it's all disgusting and all weird and everything.
It's like all like moldy and rust.
And do you want to talk about the final scene and how the movie ends?
Yes. So we're zipping through this old factory here, and we're like walking around, and then you see Justin. And we start...
He did.
Yes. We start at Justin's, like, lower half, and we just slowly go up. And then it shows Justin's face, and his eyes are completely cut out. You just can see straight through to the back of his head. And it's playing the creepy song.
That Jeepers Creepers song.
That Jeepers Creepers song. Where'd you get those peepers? And the creeper just comes up and he has poor Justin's eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has his eyes and he's looking at the camera through Justin's eye holes in his head.
And that is it.
That's the end of the movie.
The end of the
and
movie.
That's where it ends. This movie moved pretty quickly, to be honest.
It did.
There was a couple scenes. The driving scene in the beginning and the falling scene down the tunnel were a little bit dragged out. But the movie's pacing was relatively fast.
Yeah, they didn't cut any corners in this movie
No, not
with
really.
trying to make it a little creepier. They were just like, this is it.
Yep.
This is what we're doing.
How we're going to do this is that's the end of the movie. Each week after we get done with the ending, we are going to rate the movie
Yes.
in a couple different categories. So we're going to go off of obviously just overall rating. We're going to rate the pacing of the movie, which we kind of just did. And then I think we should rate like the kills in this movie.
Yes, because we didn't even mention how many there were.
There were 6 kills throughout the movie.
We did keep count.
Yeah, there were 6 kills throughout this movie. I wouldn't necessarily rate the kills. Okay, we'll just say how many kills instead of rating them because that's a little weird. But
Yeah, we're not serial killers over here.
what else could we rate it on? The creep factor?
Yeah.
We'll do creep factor. So overall, what would you rate this out of 5?
Overall, I'd give it like a 2.5 to a 3.
2.5 to a 3. I would say a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I think that's fitting.
I mean, it's back in 2001. I know things have definitely changed from then to now. It just, I feel like it could have been better.
Well, I mean, yeah. What would you say the pacing was out of 5?
Oh, it was so fast. Definitely like, wait, the higher I go, is that like good or
Yeah,
like bad?
Yeah. Out of 5, like 5 is the best, 1's the worst.
Like a 2.
A 2 for pacing. I'll say
Yeah.
a 2 for pacing too. It was fast, but it wasn't like.
It was one of those movies where it's like straight to the point.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna give it a 2 because the pacing was. I feel like
They should have made it a little bit more
they
like,
could have left more. They could have put more details in and not necessarily dragged out some scenes, but they could have done a little bit more to like. It's the first movie, and they could have done a little bit more to explain what the creeper is. They just could have done a little bit more. It only would have added just a few minutes.
we know that
to the
he
movie.
comes out and eats for 23 days.
But we don't find that out in the first movie.
No, we don't. So I feel like they could have put in like obviously what is the creeper? Why does he do what he does? Like how did he get created? Like
Right.
we don't even know what he is.
Right,
Is
so-
he a monster? Is he a superhuman? Like what is he exactly? Because he can fly. He obviously doesn't die because when he gets beaten up really badly, if he just eats a human, he gets better.
Right. So what would you rate the creep factor?
The creep factor is definitely a 4 for me.
I say a 3.
It's a 4 for me because he is extremely creepy looking.
Yeah, he's creepy.
He's very creepy. He's like a green man with like weird like teeth and like his face has like distinguished markings on him. I mean, he just all in all, he's a very creepy character. They
Yeah,
did a very good job with naming him Jeepers Creepers because he's definitely creepy.
Yeah, I say a 3 just because there was only a few scenes that.
The body wall was
Spooked me.
creepy.
I mean that wasn't necessarily creepy.
No, but it's like it's weird though.
Yeah, I'd say obviously the creepiest scenes for me were
The jail cell.
that one was a little that was
The making out with severed head.
That one just made me uncomfortable. But like the driving up behind the very first time we see the truck, that gave me really bad anxiety. And then the one where he pops around the corner. Those were the 2 scenes that spooked me a little bit.
I told you, the popping around the
that's why I'm
corner,
giving
he
it a
didn't
3.
even hesitate. He just...
Because, I mean, out of an hour and a half film, it only got me, made me jump a little bit twice.
Well, I'm a little bit more skittish than you,
Right.
so.
So that is Jeepers Creepers, first film.
Yep.
And that's going to be it for episode 1, since we're restarting of our
But
new
keep
show.
in mind, we have been doing this for about 7 months now.
It's a little bit different doing this instead of talking about some horrific true crime tale or some paranormal thing or whatever.
It is. It is a little different, but like we said in the beginning, we needed to readjust. We needed to change our position on things a little bit, and this is where we ended up. So we hope that you enjoyed it. If we have any new listeners, I hope that
Welcome.
We'll see you guys again next week. And
Follow us on social media.
yes,
We're on Instagram and TikTok, both at Twisted Theater Pod. Please leave us a rating and review, as it is obviously totally free, and it is the main way to help support our show. And even though we are doing things by seasons, it may take a little bit of time, but feel free to DM us with any movie requests that you would like to hear us talk about.
yes, and TV shows included too, because I am a major binge watcher and I will gladly watch anything that I am given
As long as it's
to
spooky.
watch. Yes. Please don't send me any like
Comedies.
sad movies or anything like that. Don't do that. But if you've seen a movie or you've heard about a movie and you're like, hey, this would be totally awesome if they would review this, feel free, DM us, tell us what it is, and we will look it up and we will watch it and tell you what we think. And like we
Or-
said, it could take us a while, but we will get to it.
Or just DM us just to say hi.
That too. If you
Because
just
we
want to
love all of our listeners.
If you just want to pop in and say like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" I will gladly message you back.
Yeah, we obviously love all of our listeners and our
I
supporters.
love all of you.
Even though we vanished off the face of the earth for like
I
a
did,
month.
and I'm sorry. I felt really bad for that, but we just needed to take some
But
time.
yeah, so that's it. Episode 1's down. Hopefully in the next few episodes, or at least by the time we're done with Jeepers Creepers 4, because that's what I'm just going to call it, we'll have music to open up our podcast and possibly end it. Just got to find something.
We don't even know what movie selections we're doing after Jeepers Creepers.
No, but we got a couple weeks.
We do.
So yeah, that's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week.